This is the first event, Autopsy. Got to love the name, haven't you? Autopsy. We're absolutely delighted that Jaguar Land Rover has decided to work closely with us on this project, and to the extent of offering us some sponsorship as well. And obviously JLR believe that what happens to vehicles at the end of life is a very important part of what they do. You know, they don't just wave goodbye when the vehicle leaves the factory gates. They care about the use phase of the vehicle and also about what happens to it at the end of life.
You're all here today, hopefully enthusiastic to get involved and get down to the nitty-gritty of how we can contribute. You're all from different disciplines, so we don't want to tell you exactly how to run this sort of forum, but what I'd like you all to do is, before you start taking anything apart, to just get together in your group and discuss, introduce yourselves, discuss your backgrounds, and what you all want to get out of the project. You know, contribute what you can to it from your background disciplines.
At the moment, just taking it apart, and then just to start putting it into groups of materials, I suppose. Well, we're trying to understand how the sort of binnacle's held onto the dashboard and be able to take the stuff that's around it away to be able to access the screws to take it all apart. That's where we're at the minute. Where it's going, we don't know.
So this is what we do. This is the MaDE plant. 90,000 tonnes a year from our shredding process and third-party materials. There are other shredding companies in the UK, but this is where we benefit. We pay on an outturn basis. We'll take their material, we'll run it through for them and say, look, it's worth this. It's just new technology coming in to replace the landfill. So again, because I can't quote you how much used to go to landfill, or let's just say it was 25% used to go to landfill. Now we're looking at about 6 or 7 at this stage. That's the massive reduction. It's actually costs more. It would have been cheaper for us to landfill it. Not going forward, but in that given time, up to date, it would have been cheaper to landfill. But it's not the right thing to do. Sustainably, it wasn't the right thing to do, so we've invested heavily to get to this stage where we are now.
Jaguar Land Rover are involved in the MaDE project by providing some of the equipment for the students to tear down. We're very much interested in the life cycle assessment of our vehicles and understanding the impact of every single component in the vehicle. By tearing the vehicles down at end of life, we can start to understand some of the impacts that all of the components have.
It's so complex, so many different parts, different screw types, different screw heads. The complexity of it is so much more than the older seats. I'm not entirely sure why or if it's necessary.
An idea of thinking out of the box, just to see what's there and have an idea of how they might want to design or engineer components in the future. Because, I mean, I think that some of them thought, I don't really know what I'm supposed to be doing here, But as they did it, they started to question things, saying, "Oh, why do you do that? I don't understand why that's like that." And to me, that's the whole point, that you start to question and think, why can't you do it another way? Because you're the engineers and designers of the future, and you will try a different way, and you're probably going to take things further, which I think that's a really good thing to come out of this session, really.
Currently we meet the legislation in terms of end-of-life legislation. However, we are looking to improve on that. So we're looking to increase our recycling rates in line with legislation, but also see what other opportunities there are to get higher recycling levels and higher reuse of components in our vehicles.
For me, it's actually how can you engage the consumer to become more involved in service systems which will actually give them added value in terms of products, especially at end of life, but will engage them also in terms of when they're purchasing products, actually what loop are they in, how is that communicated to them, again making choices which are often dependent on perceptions about luxury, value.
We've got to make things simpler. We can't carry on using the amount of material we're using and putting it together in such complex and difficult ways. We've just got to make things simpler, lighter, for obvious reasons, more economic in every sense. And so, we're just hoping to change attitudes a little bit to help enlighten a bit and to encourage a shift, I guess, in the way in which we do things.
It's a brand new Evoque. I think it's lessons learned and actioned on. So we have a lot of there's a lot of components in there, so it's densely compacted but of light stuff, but it still weighs a lot, obviously. But we have magnesium alloy substrates, we have low density plastic ventings. There's a lot of lessons that have been learned here.
I think the problem is with using these materials is that every time you try to make an alternative, it's trying to sort of be like the one before. Whereas maybe you just have to kind of start over, which is a very scary idea.
I can see much more use of recycled materials coming back into cars. I can see a much more closed loop of the materials and scrap material that comes out of vehicles. So they go back into the same quality of grade components rather than being downcycled or downvalued into other lower grade materials and components.
I worked in the car industry as a designer, and obviously these guys on the course are all going into the car industry as designers. And what you realise is that they're just you're just developing the very surface of what you see.
The great thing I think about today is that it's been an enormous interdisciplinary project in a sense, in that it's brought people, all of us from different disciplines, but the whole changing behaviour, and I think it would be wonderful to do the next phase of the project.
We need ultimately really big picture solutions to this problem. So, I think that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to really, encourage the industry to stage a major rethink.